The Past, Present, and Future of Space War. Introduction. The concept of space warfare has evolved significantly since its inception in the mid-20th century, transitioning from initial exploration and scientific endeavors to strategic military applications. This report explores the evolution of space warfare through its historical context, current state, and future prospects, highlighting the interplay of military strategy, policy development, and technological innovation. The past, early development and military interest 1940s to 1990s. Origins and Cold War era 1940s to 1950s. The roots of military interest in space can be traced back to the conclusion of World War II. The Army's Signal Corps had developed significant expertise in aerial intelligence and communication systems. The launch of Explorer I by the U.S. Army on January 31, 1958 marked the Army's entry into space operations, setting the stage for future military space initiatives. The subsequent 1959 Army space policy articulated the Army's belief that space was a shared domain, emphasizing its role in supporting land operations. Interservice rivalry and NASA dominance 1960s to 1970s. Throughout the 1960s and 1970s, the Army's contributions to space were overshadowed by NASA's Apollo missions. Despite retaining essential programs such as the Pershing missile system, the Army struggled against interservice rivalry, with the Air Force and Navy capturing most space capabilities. The Army's focus during this time was primarily on using space for reconnaissance and communication, leading to a gradual recognition of the importance of space in land warfare. The Gulf War and the First Space War 1990s. The 1990s marked a turning point, with Operation Desert Storm often referred to as the First Space War. The integration of space-based technologies, particularly the Global Positioning System (GPS), transformed military operations, allowing precision navigation and enhanced situational awareness. This conflict demonstrated the critical role of space in modern warfare and solidified the Army's commitment to leveraging space capabilities. The present, evolving policies and technological advancements 2000s to 2020s. Transition to prescriptive policies 2000s. In the early 2000s, the Army's space policy became increasingly prescriptive, delineating specific capabilities for military operations. However, this shift led to criticisms regarding the verbosity and lack of clarity in policy objectives. The 2003 Army space policy emphasized the need for dynamic and integrated space capabilities but struggled to articulate a cohesive vision. Emergence of commercial space and technological innovation 2010s. The 2010s saw a significant increase in commercial space technologies, prompting a reevaluation of military space strategies. The Army published a revised space policy in 2017 which aimed to integrate space capabilities across the force. However, the policy remained verbose and lacked clear focus, hindering its effectiveness in guiding space operations. Current landscape and interservice dynamics. As of 2025, the U.S. Army's role in space is increasingly challenged by the establishment of the U.S. Space Force. The Army must navigate this new landscape while maintaining its focus on supporting land operations through space-based capabilities. The ongoing interservice rivalry continues to shape the Army's strategic approach to space warfare. The future, strategic directions and policy recommendations. Defining the role of the Army in space warfare. Looking ahead. The Army must clarify its role in the context of emerging space technologies and capabilities. A cohesive and flexible space policy is essential to articulate the Army's objectives within the broader framework of multi-domain operations. The Army should emphasize its unique contributions to land warfare while collaborating with the Space Force and other military branches. Focus on training and integration. To maximize the effectiveness of space capabilities, the Army should invest in training programs that educate personnel on the strategic importance of space in modern warfare. Integration of space operations into joint exercises and training scenarios will enhance the Army's readiness in contested environments. Policy development and strategic alignment. The Army's space policy should prioritize clear and concise articulation of objectives, avoiding excessive technical jargon that may obscure intent. A well-defined policy will foster inter-service cooperation and ensure that space capabilities are effectively leveraged to support land operations. Adaptation to technological advancements. As technology continues to evolve, the Army must remain agile in adapting its space strategies to incorporate new capabilities. This includes leveraging advancements in artificial intelligence, satellite technology, and commercial partnerships to enhance operational effectiveness. Conclusion. The past, present, and future of space warfare illustrate a dynamic interplay of military strategy, policy development, and technological innovation. The Army's recognition of space as a critical component of land warfare is essential for maintaining operational superiority. By defining its role fostering inter-service collaboration and adapting to emerging technologies, the Army can effectively navigate the complexities of space warfare in the 21st century and beyond. The evolution of space warfare reveals several counterintuitive insights that challenge conventional perceptions about military operations. Inter-service dynamics and the integration of technology into warfare. 1. Inter-service rivalry versus collaboration. A significant counterintuitive aspect is the persistent inter-service rivalry, particularly between the Army and the Air Force, which often hampered cohesive space initiatives. While one might expect military branches to collaborate effectively to harness space capabilities, the reality was marked by competition for funding, resources, and strategic direction. The Army's early contributions were overshadowed by the Air Force and NASA, leading to a fragmented approach to space warfare. This rivalry not only stifled innovation but also delayed the Army's recognition of space's potential to enhance land operations until the Gulf War, where it had to adapt rapidly to the emerging technologies. 2. The Army's underappreciated role. Historically, the Army's contributions to space initiatives have often been unrecognized or underappreciated. While NASA's Apollo missions captured public and governmental attention, the Army was engaged in essential space-related activities such as satellite communications and missile defense. This discrepancy illustrates how public perception can overlook critical military functions, raising questions about the narratives that dominate discussions on space and military capability. 3. Space as a component of ground warfare. The Army's evolving understanding of space as a critical component of land warfare is another counterintuitive theme. Initially, space was seen as an independent domain, but the Army's realization that operations in space directly impact ground operations, termed as from, through, or in, it transformed its strategic approach. This shift challenges the traditional notion that space operations are predominantly an Air Force domain, emphasizing the interconnected nature of military operations across different environments. 4. Policy complexity and clarity. The complexity and verbosity of space policies issued by the Army often obscured their intended goals. Contrary to the expectation that military policy should be straightforward and actionable. For instance, the 2003 Army space policy was criticized for being overly prescriptive without a clear purpose. This highlights the paradox where more detailed policies can lead to confusion and inefficiency, undermining the effectiveness of military operations. 5. Commercial space developments. The rise of commercial space technology in the 2010s prompted a reevaluation of military space strategies, revealing an unexpected shift where the Army had to learn from the private sector. As commercial entities began launching satellites and providing capabilities previously reserved for military operations, the Army faced the challenge of integrating these advancements into its operational framework. This development contradicts the traditional view of military superiority in technology, suggesting that collaboration with commercial entities is increasingly vital for maintaining operational effectiveness. 6. Future space warfare dynamics. Looking ahead, the expectation that the Army will seamlessly integrate space capabilities into its operations amidst emerging technologies and a contested space environment is questionable. The need for a coherent space policy that articulates the Army's strategic objectives is paramount, yet the ongoing evolution of space capabilities poses a challenge. This counterintuitive reality underscores the complexity of future warfare, where adaptability and foresight will be as crucial as technological advancement. In summary, the history and evolution of space warfare reveal counterintuitive insights that challenge conventional wisdom about military operations, interservice dynamics, and the integration of emerging technologies. Understanding these complexities is essential for formulating effective strategies in an increasingly contested and technologically advanced space environment. The report, The Past, Present, and Future of Space War, presents a comprehensive examination of the evolution of space warfare, detailing significant developments in military strategy and technology while emphasizing the U.S. Army's role in these transformations. Several key points within the report may be overlooked but are pivotal for understanding the broader implications of space warfare and military strategy. Overlooked insights and their significance. 1. Interservice rivalry and its impact on space policy. The report highlights the persistent interservice rivalry, particularly between the Army and the Air Force, which has historically hampered cohesive space initiatives. This rivalry shaped not only the allocation of resources but also the overarching military policy regarding space operations. The significance of this competition lies in its long-term effects. The inability to collaborate effectively has led to disjointed efforts and missed opportunities in harnessing space capabilities for land operations. Understanding this dynamic is crucial for recognizing the challenges that the Army faces in the current context of space militarization. 2. The evolution of Army space doctrine. The report outlines the evolution of the Army's space policy from its inception in 1959 to the present. Each iteration reflects shifts in military doctrine and operational needs. The transition from broad non-prescriptive policies to more detailed, prescriptive ones indicates an increasing recognition of space as a critical component of land warfare. This evolution is significant because it illustrates how military doctrine must adapt to technological advancements and changing operational environments. Failing to appreciate this continual evolution risks underestimating the complexity of modern military operations. 3. The role of technology in shaping military strategy. The report emphasizes the role of technological advancements in space, particularly during conflicts like the Gulf War, which is often referred to as the First Space War. The Army's integration of GPS and other satellite technologies revolutionized land warfare and showcased the importance of space capabilities in modern military operations. The significance of this point lies in the acknowledgement that technological innovation directly influences military strategy. As new technologies emerge, military organizations must evolve to leverage these advancements effectively. 4. Historical context of space operations. Many people may not fully grasp how historical events, such as World War II and the Cold War, set the stage for contemporary space operations. The report details how early military interest in space was rooted in prior experiences with aerial and missile technologies. Recognizing this historical context is significant because it underscores the continuity of military strategy and the lessons learned that inform current and future operations in space. 5. The shift in Army space policy towards specific capabilities. The transition from broad policy statements to specific capability requirements in the 2003 Army space policy is noteworthy. This shift indicates a more focused approach to space operations, emphasizing the need for precise capabilities to support Army missions. The significance of this change lies in the potential for increased operational effectiveness, however. The report also highlights the risks of overly prescriptive policies that may limit innovation and adaptability. This balance between specificity and flexibility is critical for future policy formulation. 6. The future of space warfare. The report discusses the necessity for the Army to define its role in the context of emerging space capabilities and the establishment of the U.S. Space Force. This future-oriented aspect is significant because it indicates a paradigm shift in how military operations will be conducted in space. As space becomes increasingly contested, the Army must articulate its strategic objectives clearly to ensure operational effectiveness in this new domain. This need for clarity in policy will be essential for guiding future investments and strategic priorities. 7. Public perception and understanding of military space operations. The report suggests that much of the Army's contributions to space capabilities have gone unnoticed by the public and other governmental agencies. This lack of recognition can lead to underfunding and neglect of critical space initiatives. The significance of public perception in shaping military policy and funding cannot be overstated. A well-informed public can advocate for necessary resources and support. This connection highlights the importance of transparency and communication in military operations. 8. Cohesion between space and land warfare. The report's assertion that the Army must integrate space capabilities into land operations is crucial. The idea that space operations are an extension of the battlefield rather than a separate domain is significant for understanding how military effectiveness can be enhanced. This perspective emphasizes the need for joint operations and collaboration across military branches, which can lead to more coherent and impactful military strategies. Conclusion. The report, The Past, Present and Future of Space War, encompasses many critical insights into the evolution of military strategy, policy and technology in the realm of space warfare. By recognizing the overlooked content, particularly regarding interservice rivalry, the evolution of doctrine and the importance of technology, one can appreciate the complexities of modern military operations. The significance of these themes lies in their implications for future policy development, operational effectiveness, and the overarching strategy of the U.S. Army in an increasingly contested space environment. As military operations continue to evolve, these historical lessons and insights will be vital for ensuring readiness and adaptability in the face of new challenges. 1. Historical evolution of space warfare. The historical context of space warfare traces a significant trajectory from the 1940s to the present. The U.S. Army's initial forays into space capabilities began with the launch of Explorer I in 1958, marking the Army's commitment to space operations. This period highlighted critical inter-service rivalries, particularly between the Army and the Air Force, which shaped the development and allocation of space responsibilities within the military. The evolution from a nascent interest in space to its strategic integration into land warfare during the Gulf War exemplifies how historical developments have informed contemporary military operations and policies. 2. Impact of technological advancements. The transformation of military operations through technological advancements, particularly space-based technologies, is a recurring theme in the history of space warfare. The Gulf War, often referred to as the first space war, showcased the vital role of satellite systems such as GPS for navigation and communication. This integration of technology not only enhanced operational effectiveness but also reshaped military strategies, indicating that continuous innovation in space capabilities is essential for maintaining operational superiority. The discussion of how commercial space technology has proliferated in recent years further underscores the necessity for military adaptation to leverage these advancements. 3. Policy development and inter-service cooperation. The challenges of creating cohesive and effective space policies within the Army and across the military branches are pivotal in understanding the future of space warfare. The Army's attempts to articulate its role and responsibilities in space operations have often been hampered by verbose and unclear policies, leading to disjointed efforts. The historical struggles for inter-service cooperation and the need for a unified approach to space capabilities highlight the importance of clear policy development. As military operations evolve, a cohesive space policy that clearly defines roles, goals, and capabilities is imperative for effective integration into joint operations. For future directions and strategic implications, Looking ahead, the future of space warfare necessitates that the Army define its role amidst emerging space capabilities and evolving military doctrines. The need for a robust space policy that articulates the Army's strategic objectives in multi-domain operations is critical. As the U.S. Space Force takes shape and space-based technologies become more integral to land warfare, the Army must adapt its policies to ensure readiness in an increasingly contested space environment. This adaptation must include a clear understanding of how space capabilities can enhance operational effectiveness and support broader military missions, thereby ensuring that space remains a key component of military strategy in the 21st century. Here are 3 famous historical cases related to the concept of space warfare which reflect the evolution of military conflict in the context of space. 1. Project Apollo and the Space Race 1960s to 1970s. The Apollo program was a pivotal moment in the Cold War, primarily involving the United States and the Soviet Union. It showcased not only the technological capabilities of both nations but also their military aspirations. The successful landing of Apollo 11 on the Moon in 1969 was seen as a significant victory for the U.S., demonstrating its capability to exert power beyond Earth. The space race was characterized by a series of milestones, including satellite launches like Sputnik in 1957, crewed missions, and ultimately lunar landings, all underscoring the strategic importance of space in national defense and prestige. The military implications of space exploration became apparent, as both superpowers recognized that control of space could translate into control of Earth-bound conflicts. 2. Operation Desert Storm 1991. Often referred to as the first space war, Operation Desert Storm highlighted the critical role of space-based technologies in modern warfare. The United States and its coalition partners utilized satellite communications, GPS navigation, and reconnaissance satellites to achieve a decisive victory over Iraqi forces. The deployment of precision-guided munitions enabled by satellite targeting data transformed military operations and showcased how space assets could enhance combat effectiveness. This operation illustrated the integration of space capabilities into military strategy and operations, further solidifying the concept of space as a battlefield. 3. The Strategic Defense Initiative (SDI) 1983. Announced by President Ronald Reagan. The Strategic Defense Initiative aimed to develop a missile defense system using ground-based and space-based systems to protect the U.S. from nuclear missile attacks. Although often criticized and seen as a political move rather than a feasible military strategy, SDI represented a significant shift in how military planners viewed space. It elevated the concept of space-based defense systems and prompted research and development efforts that sought to leverage space technology for defensive purposes. The initiative also intensified the arms race in space, as the Soviet Union viewed it as a direct threat to its strategic capabilities, leading to increased tensions and competition in the space domain. These cases illustrate how military strategies and technologies have evolved in the context of space warfare, influencing both national policy and international relations. Future outlook: the future of space warfare. As we look toward the future of space warfare, several key trends and predictions emerge, reflecting the evolving landscape of military strategy, technology, and international relations. The trajectory of space operations will likely be shaped by advancements in technology, the establishment of new military doctrines, the emergence of private sector capabilities, and the geopolitical dynamics that govern space as a contested domain. 1. Increased militarization of space. The militarization of space is expected to accelerate, with nations investing heavily in developing military capabilities beyond Earth's atmosphere. This trend will be driven by the recognition that space is not just an auxiliary domain for military operations but a critical theater of conflict. Countries like the United States, China, and Russia will prioritize capabilities such as satellite defense systems, space-based surveillance, and anti-satellite Assad weapons. The U.S. Space Force will likely continue to expand its role, emphasizing deterrence and defense in space, while ensuring that space remains accessible and secure for U.S. interests. 2. Integration of AI in autonomous systems. Artificial intelligence will play a crucial role in future space warfare, enhancing decision-making processes and operational efficiencies. Autonomous systems will be deployed for reconnaissance, surveillance, and even combat operations in space. Machine learning algorithms will analyze vast amounts of data collected from space assets, enabling quicker and more accurate responses to threats. The integration of AI will also facilitate the development of autonomous spacecraft capable of maneuvering and engaging in combat without direct human intervention. 3. Public-private partnerships. The increasing involvement of private companies in space operations will reshape the landscape of space warfare. SpaceX, Blue Origin, and other commercial players will play a significant role in logistics, satellite deployment, and even potential combat systems. Governments will likely forge partnerships with these companies, leveraging their innovative technologies and capabilities. This collaboration could lead to rapid advancements in space capabilities and reduce costs associated with military space operations. 4. Global space governance and treaties. As space becomes more contested, the need for effective governance will become paramount. International treaties and agreements will be essential in establishing norms and regulations governing the use of space for military purposes. The challenge will be to create frameworks that prevent escalation and ensure responsible behavior among nations. Future dialogues may focus on arms control agreements specific to space-based weapons and the demilitarization of certain orbital zones to prevent conflicts. 5. Emergence of new space powers. While traditional space powers like the US, Russia, and China will continue to dominate, emerging space nations will play an increasingly vital role in global space dynamics. Countries like India, Japan, and several European nations are investing in their space capabilities, which may lead to new alliances and rivalries. The proliferation of space technology will democratize access to space, resulting in a more multipolar space environment where smaller nations can exert influence. 6. Cybersecurity and space operations. The intersection of cybersecurity and space operations will become a critical focus area. As space-based systems become more interconnected, they will be vulnerable to cyber attacks that could disrupt military operations. Ensuring the resilience and security of space assets will be paramount. Military organizations will need to develop robust cybersecurity protocols to protect their space infrastructure, and offensive cyber capabilities may also be employed to counter threats in the space domain. 7. Space as a domain of conflict and deterrence. In the future, space will increasingly be viewed as a domain of conflict rather than merely a supporting platform for terrestrial operations. Nations will develop doctrines that emphasize space control and the ability to project power into this domain. Deterrence strategies will evolve, with nations signaling their capabilities to potential adversaries through demonstrations of space power, such as successful satellite launches or weapons tests. 8. Environmental considerations in space debris management. As military operations in space increase, so will the focus on environmental considerations, particularly space debris management. The accumulation of debris poses significant risks to both military and civilian satellites. Future policies will need to address debris mitigation strategies, responsible satellite disposal, and the development of technologies to actively remove space debris. International cooperation will be essential to create effective frameworks for debris management. Conclusion. The future of space warfare will be characterized by rapid technological advancements, evolving military doctrines, and the increasing involvement of private sector capabilities. As nations navigate the complexities of space as a contested domain, the need for effective governance and international cooperation will be more crucial than ever. The interplay between military, technological, and geopolitical factors will shape the landscape of space warfare, necessitating continuous adaptation and innovation to maintain strategic advantages in this new frontier.